Okay, everyone. So I was able to talk with you about last month's piece for March. And so now we're going to go into our guided imagery. And for those of you who will be watching the rebroadcast, there will be a guided imagery now in our video files. And you'll be able to use that guided imagery anytime you'd like. You can use it when you are working on pieces during the month. You can use it at any time. But tonight I'll be doing ours live. So again, if you're back with me and everything is okay, just send a heart and let me know. So for now, what you're going to want to have ready is your scissors, a glue stick, water if you're using paint. There's some water here if you're using paint. And you can get a candle, you can have some smudge, and then you'll want to have your journal ready and at hand so that when you come out of your imagery, you're ready to go, and you don't have to you'll want to have your brushes, your paints, and most of all, you'll want to have either a Sharpie like this or a pencil, pen, something to write with. You can even use, and I actually really like to do this, is you can use chalk pastels to write with. And what we're going to start with is actually a letting go. And what we're going to do during the meditation is we're going to talk about what it is that we feel ready to release from last month. And in that space, we are going to then come out and we're going to do a writing. And we're going to release just by choosing a color, and I don't know, I feel like drawn to this very bright pink. We're going to release whatever it is that we're ready to let go of. And from there, we'll build on top of that, and we'll move into our intention for April. So let's start by getting nice and quiet and comfortable. And I'm going to start by smudging my space in honor of all of us and doing a clearing. And we'll start to see the smoke begin to rise and offering a prayer up to the ancestors and thanks and gratitude for the month that has subsided and honoring the wisdom that was brought forth for all of us. And calling in again those that are willing to be with us on the journey as we step into this new moon in Aries in April, and honoring all that has been and honoring all that was, and calling in all that will be new. And in this way, we call in what is in our highest good for all concerned. May it be so. Namaste. And so take a moment, get comfortable. Close your eyes if you want. And just begin by taking some nice, deep, quieting breaths. Making sure the breath moves past your lungs and into the deepest part of your belly. And as you breathe, just feel into your body and notice if there's any tension anywhere. And without judging or trying to fix it, just send some breath and some light into those spaces. And making sure to take that very deep breath on your exhale, releasing all tension on the wind of your breath, and making some noise and letting all that tension out on the ocean breath. As women, we tend to kind of hold in a lot. And we don't often give our voices a place to move the energy that is up and through us. And so starting at your crown chakra, just scanning down your body, through your face, neck, and shoulders, down through your arms, back up through your arms into your heart chakra, down into your solar plexus, your abdomen, down through your buttocks and your root chakra, through your thighs, calves, and down into your feet, allowing your roots to grow down into the center of the earth, grounding you, allowing you to feel rooted and at peace. And now, what I want you to do is to take another deep, quiet breath and ask yourself, what is calling me? What is in the truest, deepest place of my heart? Is it something that I keep hearing and choosing to push away or ignore out of fear or something else? What would happen if tonight we let ourselves hear the call? We let ourselves answer the call, knowing that we can hold these intentions for one another, and that it doesn't mean we have to leap tomorrow. We can just allow a quiet acknowledgement of the truth that lives inside us. And so on your next breath, create an intention for your time here in our gathering tonight. And imagine that you have a beautiful golden container or some container that you create in your imagination right now, that you're going to put this intention in to come back to as you take the next step toward our evening. And so now, taking another final deep breath, knowing that you'll remember exactly what your intention was for April, and trusting that even if something didn't come or it's not fully formed, that once you begin this process and you begin choosing images, the images will inform you. And so I always tell students that it's not necessarily, don't worry about where you're going. Try not to have something fully formed, because that's actually the difference between an intention and a goal. And I talk about that in the book, okay? And so we're going to take one final last breath, and we're going to come back into our circle. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open our journals, and we are going to start with our writing, our letting go writing. And I'm just going to kind of organize my table here a little bit better so I make sure that we can see. And this is what I'll be working on tonight. Okay, so I'm just going to get some of my paint off the table and get it so that we can actually see what's going on. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do my writing. So many of us are afraid that someone will be able to see our writing. Hi, Robin. I think you're watching. If you are, send a heart. I just checked above my table to make sure that this was accurate. So if you're still watching, send a heart. Thank you for watching. So I'm going to show you how I do my writing. And I'm going to use, tonight I'm going to use my chalk pastel. And I actually decided I want to do some yellow. So we're going to move into silence, and this is a way that I do my writing, and I love to credit Lori Doctor for this, because she was the one who first showed me this many years ago. But then once I found out that I could water my chalk pastels, that changed my life. So let's just move into a little bit of silence. I'll turn on some Deva Premal, and we can have a little bit of music while we are writing. Okay, so this is my letting go. And what I tell my students, especially the young people that I work with, as I shared, so many of us are afraid that somebody's going to pick up our journal and read our thoughts. And what I love about this process is that, first of all, I don't even really know what I wrote here. It's totally stream of consciousness, it's totally active imagination, and it's really, in my mind, sort of a purging again of what was and no longer serves me. And why I enjoy working with my chalk pastels is I can then take my brush and depending on how wet it is, and I'm looking right now for my paper towels, but I don't see them, and I can just begin to use this as a painting, right? And so I have two colors here which don't necessarily get along, but it just becomes a background, my first layer into my piece. Okay, and I don't have my blow dryer set up, so I am going to try to find a rag right here. And instead of using my blow dryer, because we're live anyway, I'm going to just dab this. I really like it. And again, none of this is really about creating necessarily a beautiful picture. This is really about just calling forward. And you can even take your rag and smear it even more, which is kind of beautiful. But it's about really letting go and calling forward what it is we want. So now I've got my base, and I'm going to just build from there. I had already chosen a couple of images. These two, I was looking through some magazines earlier, and I found them, and they just struck me immediately. And I also often I will keep a lot of images in just a pile if I see them, and papers and things like that. But if there's something that I see, I just stick it in the back of my journal. And actually, this was an amazing poem that this young woman wrote that I just absolutely adored. Maybe I'll post it later with her credit. But so anything I see as I'm kind of rummaging through classes, magazines during classes and things like that, I will just stick in the back of my journal, lots of papers. I think I'll leave those out, and go from there. So it's just about 7 o'clock, and this should get you started, and I will probably just let the video run for a little more, stay live for a little bit more while I get started. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to put the questions in the comments section, and then I am happy to answer them in any way, whatever it is, materials, anything like that, or, talking about your own intention, or anything that comes up for you during the month with your intention. But one of the things I really want to support everybody in doing is asking for what you need. If you want people to hold your intention with you, please post your piece post your journal piece, and then post what your intention is for April. Post the actions that you intend on taking around that. Because again, it's not really just Chicken Little, the sky's going to fall. To me, intention is a dance between my action and synchronicity and what I put in for my attention. So it's really, as Mary Morrissey would say, thought to form. And that's why for 30 years I have loved this process. Because what this really does is, instead of just having this in our mind's eye, it creates a form. And in the actual creation, we are taking a step toward building the bridge to what it wants. And the idea is not to get attached to necessarily the form, but being open to what shows up. Because it may be in a completely different form than we ever imagined that it was going to be. And honestly, if this wasn't working in my life, I wouldn't have kept doing it all these years. But it really is amazing when I look back at my journals, especially when I've had something really powerful that I want to bring forward, and see that sometimes it wasn't very long before they actually manifested. And so a lot of this is really also about changing our mindsets and just holding in our hearts that we can have something beyond what it is we ever imagined. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you for being here. I'm going to work a little bit more, and I'll just play some Deva Premal while I'm working, and then I will post my final journal page whenever it's finished, hopefully tonight or tomorrow or over the weekend. So thank you for joining me. May everyone have a beautiful new moon in April, and may your April bring forward everything you're hoping for in the deepest place of your heart. Namaste. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I have nothing more.
She does.